I've always wondered why I love sailing. I mean, there's many reasons, of course, but it's hard to really sum up in words that feeling that I get when I'm on a boat. Freedom comes close, but it doesn't really capture the whole thing. Satisfaction, elegance, beauty, purpose, they all touch upon the answer, but they're not the whole answer. Not that I think one single answer exists anyways. There's many ways to describe a life spent on the water in pursuit of that certain feeling. Anyway, even though I'll never fully answer the question of why I sail, I still find it an enjoyable activity to try and find an answer. When Aladino and I arrived to the Netherlands, we noticed something very unique about this country. Boats are everywhere. Sailboats in the harbor seem to at times outnumber houses in the town. The horizon on a sunny summer day is almost completely obscured by sails drifting along the greenish-hued water. And it made me think again about this question of what it is I love about sailing. What justifies the great expense, the incredibly scary moments, the steep learning curve of the sailing lifestyle? Well, clearly here was a nation full of sailors. Surely there must be some answers here. So I called up some Dutch sailors and I tried to figure out, why did the Dutch sail? Hi, Oscar. I can see you, yes. Just to start off with, what are your two names?
I'm Leontine.
I'm Michael.
So I'm talking to Sjoerd today. So Arthur, the first question is, why do you sail? I'm Maya, and this is Aladino. Our journey began a few years ago when this boat fell off a crane. After 4 years of rebuilding her, we named her Magic Carpet and we set sail to go around the world as slowly as possible. This season, we're sailing in the Netherlands. Join us as we explore the history and strange natural beauty of this seafaring nation. From the canals of Amsterdam to the pastoral islands of the Waddenzee, welcome to Magic Carpet in the Netherlands. New episode every Friday. So first of all, how do I say your name properly?
It's Sjoerd. It's like the English shoot, but
Okay.
like with an R at the end.
Sjoerd.
Yeah, like that.
Like that.
I started sailing when I was 8. My grandparents kind of enforced it. We went with the whole family. Went to the same sailing camp in Friesland.
We did some sailing in summer camp, and sailing is always a little bit part of the Dutch culture, I guess. So there's water everywhere. So when we went on holiday camps, to school outings, and a lot of the times it was sailing. Yeah.
How old were you when you started sailing?
Minus 6 months.
1962, my father bought his first boat, his first sailing boat, and I was 6 at that time.
I was pretty old,
Probably 30.
35 or something.
Yeah.
I was first on a sailboat when I was about 7 or 8. My grandmother gave us a little wooden boat called a vaurien, which in French means worth nothing. It's a little tiny wooden boat. It was really beautiful and I loved it. My mom had been quite an avid sailor in her youth. And actually my dad also had been a sailor, but my mom was really quite keen on teaching us the basics, how to tack and how to jibe and how to know where you are.
I think I was 14 years old. In a summer holiday, I went on a sailing camp, and my parents had a small holiday home in Friesland, and there was a stretch of water behind that home, and we had a very small sailboat, I think 3 meters long, and it was a very narrow stretch of water. So when you had to go upwind, you have to tack, and then go downwind, and then again. So that's where I learned to tack very well.
why did you start sailing?
Yeah, that's a pretty hard question. Yeah, we actually started more like landlubbers. So we had a little VW bus. But if you go camping in Holland, it's not like in Canada. It's quite small, and there's nature, but it's much smaller. We really were looking for some space, some calm and quiet in all the busyness of our country. When you're on the water, even in Holland, it's quite busy, but still there's a lot of space around you. You can just drop your anchor anywhere and you're out in nature.
Some point in your life, which is the first time you have a sail in your hands and you go on the water and you're just playing with the wind and controlling the speeds and playing with the wind, with the elements. If you experience that, then I got addicted to it, and it never went out of my life. So if I get out of the harbor, the engine needs to shut down and the sails need to go up, and I want to sail.
Are there any differences that you notice between sailing in the Netherlands versus sailing in the other places that you've experienced?
Yeah, the water is warmer.
Here.
I think what I always like is that like the Dutch seem to be so at home on the water. It's almost like it's nothing special. It's their second home. It's where they belong. It's where they're completely at ease. There's this easygoing vibe on the water. Half of our country is water. This is where we belong. So that's what I like about Dutch sailing culture, that most people have been on a boat somewhere in their youth, which makes it sort of relaxed.
I think a big difference if you go to French Mediterranean coast, you see all these very big yachts and fancy sailors. You don't see that very much in the Netherlands. Maybe 40 feet, you're not going to see much bigger ships.
In other countries, they have really teched out their catamaran or their really fancy yacht. But here in the Netherlands, a lot of people just sailing just because they just love to sail. With some people here, it is part of our tradition. My grandparents just passed it on to me, and I think that's a thing that's really common here.
Okay, this is the last question, but it's a fairly broad question, and it is, what do you love about sailing?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question.
That's an even more difficult question.
Yeah, well, I can talk about that weeks, months. The first word, what I think now is freedom. The freedom, being together with nature, being together, water, wind, sun. As I said, I started when I was 6, and at this moment I'm 65. And every day I come on a boat, every day it's this experience of freedom. How do you say that in English? You can't be richer as being on a boat, be on the way, sailing. It's great. It's absolutely great.
it just was the feeling that we could go anywhere we wanted. The feeling that we could sail back to the Netherlands was just mind blowing and really weird.
I mean, especially for our generation, it's very easy to have a very quick pace in life. Everything goes fast. If you're, bored for 20 seconds, you grab your phone and you start doing something else. Being on the water and, being forced to go with the speed of the wind, it forces you to slow down and to just enjoy where you are, enjoy the weather around you, the scenery. And I think I've never really been able to find that anywhere else than on a sailboat. I mean, I've hiked up mountains, but then I tend to be the kind of guy that, keeps on walking, having very short breaks. And you can't do that on a sailboat. You have to keep the pace that is the pace. So that's what I love about it most.
Well, I have a busy working life, but when I'm on board, I can let it go all. And I enjoy the nature, I enjoy the sound of the wind and the water. Just being, more or less isolated for a while. I like that, because in my work I see all day so much people, and I love that. But I also love to getting detached from everything and just go into myself and take my rest with my wife, of course, in nature especially. So I love anchoring and the sunset on the water and the birds you hear and so on. So that's why I love sailing.
My job is in innovation. I'm always thinking of the next thing, and my mind is never still unless I'm on a boat, right? And that stillness of mind where you're just busy enough to be completely focused, and you have the sheets and the steering and the wind and the waves and things to watch out for, and your mind is just occupied enough to be completely silent and to not have any time or room to get distracted. And that combined with nature and the view around you, this big water, big sky, where there's just room to breathe, that is just such an amazing state of mind to be in. And it's so healing, and it's so healthy and pure. It's like, I'm not much of a meditator. In one of your episodes, you talk about meditating and how it's very hard to do, to shut your mind up. I'm not so good at it. I'm not so good at yoga. I'm not so good at those kind of things. But I'm good at sailing, and it brings me peace. It brings me silence. It brings me